Peacekeepers in Lebanon have been advised to withdraw for their own safety. Most of them have complied, with one notable national exception: the Irish. Being part Irish myself, I'm particularly proud of the stand they've taken generally in the past 12 months. I think they've been very pro-Palestine, and it's really good to see. The Irish Times have reported the Israeli Defense Forces, IDF, has told Ireland to remove its peacekeepers from an outpost on the border with Lebanon as its invasion of the country continues. Sources confirmed the request was made to the headquarters of the United Nations Interim Force in Lebanon, UNIFIL, and individual countries contributing troops, including Ireland. Israel has been told the troops will remain in place. This might seem like a strange question, Little, but why are the Irish so uniquely pro-Palestine in your view? What do you think it is about Irish culture that's made them so uniquely pro-Palestine?
I don't think it's necessarily Irish culture, but Irish history and the colonialism and imperialism of England in Ireland, the famine, the starvation, the ethnic cleansing, and the genocide over the Irish people of over 800 years at the hands of the English. And they see themselves in the Palestinian movement, in the Palestinians, in people. Their histories are so similar that it's almost like looking in a mirror. And I can't say how proud I am of the Irish, especially those who have refused to step away from the border, the peacekeepers in Lebanon, because there isn't a word I can use to describe the level of pride I have in such an act. If those peacekeepers at the border of Sri Lanka many decades ago was not intimidated to leave their posts, then perhaps the massacre that followed would not have occurred. And I think that the Irish peacekeepers who've refused to stand down from their posts are making changes in history because they're not being intimidated. They're not going to allow a massacre to happen on their watch. And this is the sort of bravery and courage we needed to see in other genocides taking place. And so seeing the Irish take such a strong stand is extremely powerful and motivating. Hopefully it will encourage those who may have had a little bit of fear about speaking out to start speaking out.
Yeah, the threat to life, I don't think it's worth bearing in mind. The threat to life in those circumstances is very real. Like, the IDF will just like red mist people who get in their way. It's very clear that the IDF do not care about who they hit. Like, so when these Irish peacekeepers say we're staying in place, they know that there's a good chance that they're making the decisions in the last few months of their life. Like, they know that they might well be in the line of fire, even deliberately from the IDF, just for pissing them off. It's worth bearing in mind that in 1967, during the expansion of Israel and the war with its surrounding neighbours, Irish peacekeepers were also involved and also refused to move then as well. It's interesting that sort of history remains, and it did become a thing for many years during the Troubles, where the loyalists would use the Israeli flag and the Republicans would use the Palestinian flag because, as you say, because of the history, they so identify with the Palestinian cause. In 1980, Ireland was the first EU member state to, I think it was the first EU member state to call for Palestine to be recognised as a state. And I think it was only recently that Norway, Spain, and Ireland recognised Palestine collectively as a state, which is really good to see. Yeah, did you have any final thoughts on that story?
Not off the top of my head, I'm afraid, no. But other than to just re-clarify that the histories are so close between between Ireland and Palestine, that it's not surprising that we're seeing the Irish peacekeepers take such a strong stand and make a last stand, as it were, against the IDF that are set to do a ground invasion in Lebanon as we speak.